Rain hammered down outside the window of the taxi, catching the colorful lights of the city and shimmering, and making the cars parked along the road glisten. It was strange. August couldn't remember the last time he had seen rain. Snow, yes, endless snow, but not rain. How long had it been since he had left the Pride village high in the mountains and ventured down into the mortal world? Years? He leaned his right arm on the plastic that framed the bottom of the window, sighed, and stared out into the night. At the rain. At the people. So many people. The hour was late, but London was alive and buzzing. Back home, high up in the mountains, it would be silent by now, the peace rarely broken by the sound of a roar from down in the valley as one of the big cats found prey or crossed paths with a rival. Gods, he had always found it too quiet. He had taken to filling the silence of the night with the song of females in his bed, their cries chasing away that dreadful quiet and bringing life and light into the darkness. How long had it been since he had done that? Too long. After Kavanaugh had left the Pride in his hands 5 months ago, he had been doing his best to run it and be a good alpha to everyone. It was far harder than it had looked. He closed his eyes, shutting out the busy and entrancing mortal world and that magical rain, and huffed. He had trade negotiations with a neighboring Pride in a little over a week, and he didn't have a fucking clue what that entailed, and asking Dalton, his second-in-command, hadn't helped. When he had grown the balls to ask him, Dalton had looked as lost as he felt. They were both learning this shit as they went along, making half of it up and hoping what they did was right and what the Pride expected. Keeping his people happy he could do, and had been doing well. But dealing with land rights and trade of goods between prides? He could wing the basics, but he couldn't risk doing that with something as important as those two things. If he screwed up the impending negotiations, the Pride would probably want him out, and he couldn't allow that. He was the only heir to the position of alpha, which meant there would either be a fight between the strongest males in the Pride to see who would take his place, or the Pride would call upon a former alpha, Kavanaugh. His cousin had been raised to be an alpha, while August had been raised to play a supporting role. Had he made a mistake by accepting Kavanaugh's offer? Had he been out of his mind to think he could be an alpha? He wanted his cousin to be happy, though, and the damned idiot would have stuck with tradition if he had taken back the mantle of alpha, making it impossible for him to be with his mate and beloved Eloise, because she was born of the lower ranks in the Pride. So August had stepped in like some fucking hero. Who was the idiot now? He flicked his eyes open and watched the world whiz past, listening to the background noise of the driver's radio, the methodical clunk of the windscreen wipers and the whoosh of the tires as they cut through the water on the road. Still, Kavanaugh was with Eloise at last, and for better or worse, August was in charge of the Pride. It should have been grand. Alphas were never short of female company, which was exactly the way he liked things. Only life had a way of kicking him in the balls. Sure, he had 3 prides trying to palm off females onto him, and several of the high-ranking females in his own Pride making valiant attempts to bed him. But now he didn't have time for that shit, or the inclination. God, he missed the old days. He would have bedded them all, maybe more than one at a time, using them to chase back that chilling silence of the night when his thoughts traveled paths he didn't like, leaving him feeling cold inside, strangely empty. He would have had his fill of them, used them to keep his bed warm all hours of the day and night, just like many of the Pride's alphas before him. Hell, he had thought it would be a perk of the position, had imagined himself rolling in more females than ever, at least double the number he had used to invite into his bed. Now he had no lack of females who wanted him, but no desire to do anything with them. His life had truly gone to hell. The stress of running the Pride had him awake most nights, poring over documents and tearing his hair out, as he tried to figure out what to do about the 1,000 issues and projects piled up on his desk, and busy every hour of the day, taking visits from members of the Pride and hearing their problems. His every moment, every breath was dedicated to getting the Pride back on their feet. It had been 5 months to the day since he had helped Kavanaugh defeat Stellan to free the Pride of his vicious tyranny, and had taken over leadership in Kavanaugh's stead. 5 fucking months.